Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this Frozen inspired beaded Kumihimo bracelet. And this is what it looks like. So I have a blue background with a mixture of two different blue tones, so a darker blue and then a mid-tone blue to give it a bit of depth to the back. And then I have these little, now they can be a few different things. You can have them either be snowflakes or they can be stars or frozen flowers. So it's completely up to you what you want them to be. But that's what it looks like. So if you want to learn how to make this, then keep watching. So these are the things that we're going to need. Now we'll need a round Kumihimo disc for this braid because I'm making a round braid. And then the cord that I'm using is this. This is 0.4mm s-lon cord. And this is just a black colour that I'm using because I thought it would make a nice background colour to the beads as well. Now as for the beads, I've got 3 different colours of the same bead here. So 2 blue tones and then 1 white. And these are 4mm rounds or 6/0s in seed beads. So the blue ones are going to kind of be the background, and then the white one is going to help be the stars. And then the final one here, these are long magatamas. And these specific ones I'm using are matte crystal AB. I thought they would give a really nice effect to that starry look, so they have a bit of an effect to them, kind of the coating that they have on them. But you can also choose whatever ones you want to use. And then we got the findings, so extender chain, clasp, and then jump rings, and then also the small Kumihimo ends here to finish off the braid. So let's get it all together and let's get started. So what we need to do first is cut the length of our cords, and what I have here is 4 lengths of 1 meter each. And what we're going to do with these is fold all these over in half. So put all the ends together like this, and then where I have my finger up here is roughly the middle of them. I'm going to tie a regular knot there to hold them together, and also refer to know that this is my middle point. We're going to use this as well to attach to the Kumihimo disc. So this is how we want to set the cords up on the disc. So we have 1 cord on each side of every dot all the way around here, and then my knot down through the center there. So what we need to do now is make a little section of braid first without adding any beads in, just using the cord here. So I'm going to take my top left one, bring it down over the middle, down to the bottom left pair, right down here. Take my bottom right one, bring it up over the middle and stay on the right side of my top. Turn my disc for the next pair here. Take my top left one, bring it down, stay on the left side. Take my bottom right one, bring it up and stay on that right side as well. And then turn the disc again. And you want to keep doing this until you have a braid of about 1 to 2 centimeters long. And then once we reach that, we need to start adding in the beads. So I've now made my little section of just braid here. It's coming out of the back of that 1 to 2 centimeters. So we're just going to use that at the end to finish off our braid with. So what we need to do now is start adding on our beads. So then this is a setup of the beads on all my lengths of cord. Now I'm not going to go through all the setup here in detail in this video. I'm just going to mention a few things. But what I have done then instead is taking a picture of this whole setup so you can see all the beads in detail and put that on my website. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below so you can properly have a look at the picture and see every strand how the beads are sitting. Because what I've done on mine, all the blue beads, so the regular rounds, so the dark blue and the medium blue, they're all just kind of random really. I've used more of the medium blue, but then I've mixed up the dark blue and the medium blue just to make it random, so it's not a set pattern with them. It's only really the white rounds and then also the long magatamas that I put in specific places along the braid to achieve the look that I want. And those are the ones that create those little either snowflakes or frozen flowers or stars, whatever you want them to be. And then the only thing you have to pay attention to really, the most important thing I would say, is your long magatamas. Because some of them are facing in opposite directions. What you'll find with long magatamas is they have kind of the hole going through them is at an angle. So that means they will have a bit of a point to them depending on what way you put them on. So to achieve the right look on the braid that I've made here, so the pattern that I made, you need to just make sure that you're putting on the long magatamas in the right direction. Again, that will be more obvious on the picture that I've taken of the setup, so you can have a look in detail there. You can see on this one they're all pretty much these two opposite each other, and then every pair is set opposite each other. So you want to make sure to just have a look at that and make sure you put on your long magatamas in the correct way. Now what I also just want to mention is how you work with your braid. So the way that I work usually is I take my top left one and bring that down first, then I take my bottom right one and bring that up. That's the way that I find comfortable working. Now you might be the opposite. You might start with the bottom right one and bring it up and then take the top left one and bring it down. That's the exact same thing as what I do in this case. So whether you start with the top left one or the bottom right one, that's the same thing. And you're just going to set up your beads in the exact same way here. If you start with either the top right one or the bottom left one, those two are the same as each other as well. But if you start with either of those two, you'll just need to set up your beads differently to achieve the same pattern. So basically imagine that you have a mirror in front of your disc and you basically want to put all the beads on in that mirror image. So that means that your top two cords here will swap places and then the bottom two will swap over as well. So just over with each other, and then the side ones here, the top two, so the top one on the left side and the top one on the right side, need to swap over the middle of the disc and swap place with each other, and then the bottom two, so the bottom left one and the bottom right, also need to swap over. And then once you've then done that instead, so that means all the beads, the way that you put them on the lengths of cord, once you've done that, you can then take either the top right one or the bottom left one. And then direction wise, how you turn your disc, that doesn't matter at all, because this is only an 8-strand braid, so it doesn't have an effect what direction you turn your disc in. But then once you've added all your beads onto your lengths of cord here, however you like to work with it, then what we need to do is continue the braid and start adding the beads into it. So we do that by just picking up our disc like this, and then just continue that 8-strand braid that we were doing without adding beads in. The difference is now, every time we bring over a cord, every time we cross a cord over the middle, we just need to add in one of our beads. So I'm going to take my top left cord here, and then as I'm releasing it, the cord from the disc, I also need to release one bead, so the first one that you kind of run into there. Let that drop down as you release your cord, and then in the middle here, you just need to make sure that your bead goes underneath the cords that are crossing over in the middle, just like that, and then bring it down to the bottom and place it in your disc. And then I take my bottom right one, release the one bead as I'm releasing the cord, let it drop down, and also make sure to tuck that in under the cord in the middle. You might find that your bead will tuck in by themselves under there, then that's absolutely fine, but sometimes you will have to just give it a helping hand by using your fingers to tuck it in. But just keep an eye on it as you go to make sure that you do tuck in those beads, because if you don't, your beads will end up on the inside of the braid and that will ruin your pattern. So you just continue doing the same thing here. Grab your next cord and release one bead as you're releasing your cord. Let it drop down and tuck it in. And like I said, make sure you tuck in those beads. Now I do have a video that I've done, a tutorial, where I show in detail how to do a beaded Kumihimo braid if you're not too familiar with it. So that might be helpful. I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below. You can have a look at that if you need to. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail in that one. But you just want to continue doing this until you build up your braid and you used up all the beads. And then I'm going to show you what we do next. Now I've then finished up using all my beads here on my lengths of cord. As you can see, I have none left. So what we need to do now is finish off the braid. So again, we just continue with the same steps, going back to just making the braid without adding beads in, just like the beginning of the braid there. So just take your cord over, and what we need to do basically is make a little section of just braid, just like we have in the beginning of it. So we have those little ends of just cord to be able to finish off the bracelet with. So you just want to do this for about 1 to 2 centimeters. Now that I've then made that little section of just the braid, of just about 1 centimeter or 2, then we can take it off the board, but I just want to secure it first. So what I'm going to do is just take, this is the last pair that I just used, I want to take the other one, and then basically take cords that are diagonally opposite each other. So I'm going to use these two, take them across the middle, and then tie a regular knot there, across the middle with the 2 cords, tighten it all the way down, place them back in to get them out of the way. Take the other 2 diagonally opposite each other from that same pair, tie a knot across the middle, tighten it, and then move on to the other pair. This is just to secure the end in place really. It's going to make it easy to take off the board, but then also to continue to work with while we finish off the ends. And it also gives a nice seamless end and less bulky than just taking it off and tying a regular knot with all the cords. So there we go. Can now take it off the board. And then here we have the finished braid with our beads on. And then this is what the braid looks like. So the base colours there, the two blue colours that I'm using, the medium one and then the darker one spaced in between randomly. It's just a nice background, but it still has a bit of depth to it because of using two different colours. But then the little, whether you want them to be snowflakes, stars, or just frozen flowers, that's completely up to you. I think they could be all of them, depends what you prefer. So that's what it looks like. So all that's left to do now is finish off the ends of our braid here. I already have a tutorial that shows how to do that, so I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below. And when you've then attached both your Kumihimo ends there and your clasp and extended chain, if that's what you're using, to both ends, then here you have the finished bracelet. You can also use your clasp, fasten it up, and then it looks like that. So you have your little, whether it's snowflakes or frozen flowers or stars, set along the outside there. So we also have this kind of flat on the inside, so it's going to be nice and comfortable to wear. So that's what it looks like. So that's how you make this frozen inspired beaded Kumihimo bracelet. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this Christmas wreath beaded Kumihimo bracelet. And then this is what it looks like. So you got green long magatama beads to kind of symbolise the wreath, and then I'm using some red and some silver beads for the embellishment to go around the wreath, and then turn it into a bracelet. So if you want to learn how to make that, then keep watching. And these